Coming up on First at 4, Kentucky State Police is getting ready to welcome 14 Telecommunications Academy graduates into 8 different KSP posts across the Commonwealth. And the conversation about policing in America ramps up following the death of Tyree Nichols.
We're keeping it active and wintry as we head into tonight and beyond as well. The latest next as Mountain News First at 4 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Olivia Calfee. First at 4, some commuters saw a wintry mess on their way to work this morning, and we even had some schools delayed or closed. Meteorologist Evan Hatter joins us now and has more on our First Alert Weather Day. Evan?
Well, Olivia, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more of those delays and closings and NTI days as we head into our Wednesday, because as we head into tonight, we've got another chance at some wintry precipitation. Our First Alert Severe Weather Day continues. Snow, sleet, freezing rain, all of it, a wintry mix on the way as we head later into this evening and into tonight. So a little bit earlier than last night, and getting out of here a little bit earlier as well. We're going to, again, watch slick spots on the roads and elevated surfaces especially. I think we've got a better chance at seeing more in the way of wintry conditions tonight compared to last night. Outside right now, we're cold. Air temperatures in Hazard at 32, Pikeville's at 31, London's at 37, and we're seeing a little bit of that kind of just mist out there in many spots. It may not be picked up on the radar, but it's there. Temperatures remain chilly region-wide. We're a little bit milder in the Cumberland Valley. Elsewhere, hanging around freezing, and we'll continue to see that through the next little bit. Pinpoint Doppler for us right now, a clean sweep, but that doesn't mean we may not be seeing some mist as we head through the lowest levels of the atmosphere. Satellite and radar with the freezing line on, and you see many of us kind of hanging on that freezing line. It's already further south than it was yesterday, so that's why I think we've got a better shot at seeing the potential for some wintry precipitation a little bit later on tonight. Winter weather advisory for everybody but Rowan, Menifee, Powell, Wolf, Morgan, and Elliott counties. This kicks in at, I believe, 7 o'clock tonight and runs through 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we've got quite a ways to go before we're completely done with this. Those details in a few minutes. Olivia?
Thank you, Evan. Kentucky State Police will be welcoming 14 Telecommunications Academy graduates into 8 different KSP posts across the Commonwealth. The graduates received more than 160 hours of training over the course of 4 weeks. Telecommunicators are trained in combating stress and PTSD, ethics and confidentiality, and first aid, among other subjects.
I'm very excited about the 2 that we've got here at this post. They're very capable of doing the job, and just starting out on their career. I can't wait to see what they do. They have a lot of potential. They've done very well in the academy, and they're ready to get started.
Telecommunications manager Chris Hayes adds that there are many aspects of this job that the general public does not see or understand. But you can learn more about what telecommunications entails tonight at 6. In what is already shaping up to be an interesting political season in Kentucky, the changing landscape of how voters align politically is an added layer, as many turn away from registering as a Republican or Democrat. Kentucky Secretary of State Michael Adams says political candidates should take notice of this trend, adding there is now a larger base of voters to sway. The League of Women's Voters says while white voters are skewing more independent, Black and Latino voters are still registering more Democrat.
I think what we're seeing right now is just that there has been such a dedication to this identity politics, and we've seen just unprecedented polarization as a result of this identity politics, and that, you know, we're seeing that youth are really more focused on values and on issues. Youth voters have a lot more power than they think that they do. They are one of the largest voting blocs that we have.
Kentucky is a closed primary state, which means voters not registered Republican or Democrat cannot participate in the May primary. So the real impact that would have on elections will not be known until the general election in November. The city of Memphis has now disciplined or fired 10 police and emergency workers at the scene where Tyree Nichols was brutally beaten earlier this month. That includes the 5 former officers charged with second-degree murder. Last night, mourners gathered at a vigil for Nichols at the same spot where he was beaten. The 29-year-old was a father to a 4-year-old son. Administrators at the Balmore Ridgeway Elementary School in Memphis are trying to help students process their community's grief.
They're not sure what those feelings are. So it's important to put a name to it so that they can understand what this is that they're seeing and how it's making them feel.
As Memphis continues to mourn, the Biden administration announced it will send 4 officials to Tyree Nichols' funeral tomorrow. We'll have more on this story coming up at 5:30. CBS News reports all 5 officers charged in Nichols' death were part of a specialized anti-crime unit. CBS's senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge looks at how these controversial task forces have become part of big city policing.
The Memphis Police Department's Scorpion Unit was intended to be an elite specialized unit in response to the city's high violent crime and homicide rate. But the 5 Memphis police officers charged in Tyree Nichols' death were new to the force. And a former Memphis police officer tells CBS News the Scorpion Unit training consisted of just 3 days of PowerPoint presentations, 1 day of suspect apprehension training, and 1 day at the firing range. The department did not immediately respond to CBS News' questions.
These units require significant supervision, something that was apparently missing in the Scorpion unit.
Former NYPD Commissioner Bill Bratton says there appear to be many missteps.
You want more seasoned officers, 3, 4, 5, 6 years on the job so you can look at their track record. And you want to select them carefully. And then, most importantly, training, training, and training. And that is the Achilles heel of American police forces in every area of responsibility.
While there's no official data on the number of anti-crime units nationwide, similar issues have plagued police departments in other major cities. Atlanta Police's anti-drug unit known as Red Dog was shut down in 2011 after officers were accused of using excessive force during a traffic stop and a raid on a gay bar.
Pulled out the handgun and
In Baltimore's Gun Trace Task Force, seen here in this body camera video, was disbanded after 8 officers were convicted of racketeering and extortion.
Memphis, unfortunately, is dealing with a perfect storm that American policing is dealing with in various amounts around the country.
After the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis, Bratton says senior officers left policing and departments are desperate for recruits.
At this time in the crisis in American policing, you actually want to raise the standards, not lower them. And so everything that could go wrong seems to have gone wrong in this circumstance.
Catherine Herridge, CBS News, Washington.
2 Omaha, Nebraska police officers are recovering after a shootout with a burglary suspect late last night. Omaha police say the officers responded to a call of a burglary in progress at a storage facility when the officers found 39-year-old Stephen Dawkin trying to break into a unit that stores guns and ammunition. Dawkin ran, but the officers eventually caught up to him. They engaged gunfire and Dawkin was shot multiple times. He died at the scene. The 2 officers were shot in their lower body and taken to a local hospital. Their injuries are not life-threatening and the names of the officers have not been released. A very disturbing discovery in Chicago. A 96-year-old woman was found dead in a freezer of a home yesterday. Police are still in the early stages of the investigation and haven't released much information. As of earlier this morning, authorities had not publicly identified the woman. It is not clear who else may have been involved. Police have not taken anyone into custody yet. Coming up on First at 4, at least 1 person is dead after a multi-vehicle pileup on an icy Texas highway as severe winter weather intensifies across several states.
Plus, our active weather pattern continues through the work week as well. Temperatures staying below average. The latest coming up after this.